Alright, another El Scorchio day. Windows wide open, traffic blaring, people knocking on the doors, dogs barking, everything. So, slow network connection as well, although that's probably got nothing to do with the weather, or it may have. But hopefully this video will be alright. I'm just going to go over a quick update about the Greyhounds, or the dogs. If you watched my video last night, I modified the strategy a little bit so we weren't in the sort of run the risk of losing as much money as we had done. So I just wanted to go over that and show you what it's looking like now. And then I'll go over, because that won't take long, it's only a couple of minutes, I'll go over the other couple of Greyhound strategies that I'm currently running this month, which are seem to be doing really well, although they haven't faltered like the one I've adapted has yet. Famous last words. Probably just give it the commentator's curse. So if I go to the VPS, this is the one I changed last night. You can see there's been 14 trades and 14 winners, so we haven't lost one yet. You can remember, I don't think it's got anything to do with that. It's just luck that we've won 14 in a row, because yesterday, when we looked at it, I was losing 1 in 14, and I've lost none in 14 yet, so maybe there's one due. So there's not really a lot to show other than that it's up and running again. If you watched my video last night, it looked like on Betfair there was no Australian or New Zealand races, but in fact there were. It actually got on 3 during the night. So that's one thing to note with this, is that it's getting on a lot less races, quite a few less, because it'll only get on a race if the sixth favourite is odds of 16 or less. And there's obviously quite a lot of races where the sixth favourite is higher than odds of 16. Sounded like a tank going by. But you can see, starting at Harlow here at 10:46 up until most recently 12:16, we've got on about 11 races there, which is okay, but we're only putting 10 pence on, so we're not going to set the world on fire with earnings. What I am keen to see on this one now, while we're still testing it, is to see how much we do lose, and whether my 24 liability is calculated correctly. If you need to go back and watch the video last night if you didn't see that one. So I'll just leave that one there at the moment, but what I wanted, I'll close that up so you can't see the bets. What I wanted to go through was these next two, where I've got G171. The G stands for Greyhound, it's just my coding system to keep them together. And I've got two that are more or less the same, but they've got different recovery sort of plans. They're both doing quite well as well. This one's got a 44% strike rate, and this second one's got a 39%. Slight difference in favourites as well. So even though the recovery sequencing is different, there's a slight discrepancy on favourites as well. So what I might do is I might move back the first favourite into my test system and do quite a few variations of it, because it is performing quite well. I might do quite a few variations of it with just subtle changes to see if some perform better than others. If I break this one down, the first one here, you can see we've had 421 bets in total and 184 have won, which gives us our 44% strike rate. So what we're doing here is called a simple sequence in Betfair Bot Manager, but I think in the trade it's called Fibonacci or Fibonacci. Obviously after some Italian guide, I guess. And what it basically does is I've set the stakes to 50 pence. Now I need to keep a good eye on these two, because that might be too high. Based on I've read that you can actually go on big losing sequences on this strategy. You can lose 10 plus easily in a row, where you go 10 races without the favourite winning the race. Because essentially what we're betting on here is the favourite to win the race. You'd think you couldn't go 10 plus for the favourite not to win, but believe me, you can. But that hasn't happened here yet. So what I do need to do is keep an eye out on what the actual losses would be if I did go that far. And I know a a few people who run this strategy like to see sort of 8, 9 or 10 losses in a row, because then when they do eventually win, they win quite big, and it means more profit. The second one, I'm just doing the overall loss again, which is like the Martingale, where you're just doubling up each time to recover your losses from the previous race. Like not necessarily doubling up, you're just trying to recover your losses from the previous race that you lost on, and then adding on the bet for the current race as well. I'll go through this one first. So as you can see, a straightforward sequence. The reds are where the favourite doesn't win. So you can see, yeah, I think we've been quite lucky anyway, because the favourites won every race on their bar 4, which is like 8 out of 12. You wouldn't normally expect that much. I think on horse racing, the favourite wins about 30 to 33% of the time, depending on the course. You can see here we lost 3 in a row, so I'll start with down here. So that was at 8:43 this morning on the Australian races. We put 50 pence on and it lost, so we lost 50 pence. So the next race we put £1 on, we basically doubled it, and that lost. So the next race we put £1.50 on, and that lost. So the next race we put £2.50 on, and that won. And because the odds were 2.5, we won £3.75. And then what happens after that? A sequence, because you've had a win, the sequence goes back to the original state, which is 50 pence. Now that one won straight away at odds of 3, which is the highest odds you can get, because I'm only doing favourites up to 3. If the favourite's higher than 3 before the race kicks off, or whatever it's called in Greyhound racing, the rabbit, before the rabbit gets round, then it won't place the bet. So as you can see, that one won, so the next bet was 50 pence, that one lost, the next one was £1, and so on and so on. Now where it gets a bit squeaky bum is when you're like losing sort of 6, 7, 8, 9 in a row. I'll just go down and see if there's any bigger ones. Before I upped it, yeah, it was 10 pence, yeah, I only upped it yesterday. I just thought this was running quite well at 10 pence, so I'll try 50 pence, because 10 pence is just, you're not making enough profit as far as I'm concerned. People might argue that, but as far as I'm concerned, if you're putting 10 pence on, it's nowhere near sort of any risk then. So you can see it's just put another 50 pence trade on there on that dog choices. So let's just nip into Betfair and see if we can get that up. Should have Betfair on here. Was that Swindon 12.28? Just to show you what it looks like. It's suspended. And they're just approaching, so it's not run yet. So you can see there we've got a bet on Joyce's Sally to win, which is trap 3. So if I click on live stream, I'm not sure if this is going to cause any kind of copyright violation for YouTube, but so you can see I'm on it twice here. 250 pences, because both strategies are on the same dog, because it's less than odds of 3. So we're on number 3 to win. I don't know if you can see, that's pretty small. Yeah, but it's one with the white jacket and number 3 in the middle of it. Don't know if that's, no, it's not in the lead there. It's third there now at the moment, is it? Yeah, it's third coming around the last bend. It looks like it's going to lose. Number 2 is going to win that. Yep. So it'd come about third there, I think. So that lost. Just come out of there. This will stay suspended until the sort of final calls made on the positions, and then we will lose our 250p bets there. So I'll just nip back. So you sort of lose there. If I just open this one up, it should be the same. That's the other bet there. Choices, Sally. So both of those are going to lose, and then in the next race, as soon as that's settled, I'm only having one unsettled bet at a time, because you can actually build these up. But just having one at a time. Once as soon as this is settled, we'll lose 50 pence, and then the next trade will be £1. So if I go into the stakes, you can see the level stakes 50 pence here, and then if I go into the sequence, this is the sequence. This is the Fibonacci sequence. It basically says we're using a multiplier, not the stake. So you can change your stake at any time. I can change that to £1 on my level stake, and then it would be £1, £2, £3, £5, £8 would be the sequence. But because I'm only placing a level stake of 50 pence, if you multiply by 1, so my first bet's 50 pence. 1 times 50 pence is 50 pence. 2 times 50 pence is a pound, which is where you get a pound for the second bet. Third bet I'd be placing £1.50. Fourth bet £2.50. So it's basically just halving all of these because I'm only putting 50 pence in my stake. But you can see by the time you get to 9.5, by the time you get to 9 consecutive losses, my stake would be £27.50, and then on the 10th it would be £44.50. So you can see how it grows quite substantially the more you lose in a row. Now I don't think I've been past 6 or 7 while I was looking at 10 pence, but I believe I know a lot of people who said it easily gets into double figures. So I want to see basically how much profit I've made before I risk losing, because obviously I'm only going up to 10 losing sequences here, and on the 10th one I'd lose £44.50, but then you've got to remember I've also lost, on this one I've lost £27.50, on this one I've lost £17, £10.50, £6.50, £4, £2.50. I'd have to add all those up because I'd have lost all those, so I'd have to add them all together. It sounds like roughly £100 to me. And so by the time the 10 sequence comes round, because it'll start again back at 50 pence and I'll have lost that £100. So what I want to see is how often that 10 sequence comes round and I'll lose the £100. Have I made £100 already on this strategy before that actually happens? How often does it happen? How often is it likely to happen? That kind of thing. I don't think it'll happen that often, but it will happen. Do I reduce it down to 5 and just risk £4? Do I make it at 7 and risk £10.50 plus £6.50 plus 4 plus blah blah blah? That's what I need to work on. I'll probably put a spreadsheet together and analyse the results and see what is best and where's best to actually stop. Because there's no point going to 9 and 10 if it commonly falls at about 6 or 7 before it starts. Before you get a win. Or if it's going to be more, it might be more cost effective and profitable to get out earlier, halfway through the sequence rather than right at the end, because the numbers are getting quite big at the end. I don't think 44.50 on its own is that much of an issue. It's when you add all the previous ones on as well, because you just it just mounts up. So I'll look at that, and that's why I've got this one running. And then the second one, I'll just have a look back at the bets first. Yes, see that one's settled there, and it's minus 50 pence. So now it'll just be waiting and checking the rules to find the next race where we've got a favourite of under 3, odds of 3 or less. Sorry. If I go to selection conditions here, you can see that's the favourite rule there. I'm looking for first favourite, has to be a price of 1.01 to 3. So all these numbers will be below 3. Well, sorry, 3 or below. Just sorted by that as well, which was a mistake. Just sort those back the other way. So if I drop down, you look at the average price column, you can see 3 there. So again, when you do win, the closer this is to 3, then the more you're going to win and the better. So you can see there, we won at 2.98, which is really good, because out of the 80 pence bet we got 158. This was in the old strat when I was only doing 10 pence bets. Just looking to see the kind of odds we're getting. Yeah, so they're all quite. There's not many under 2, because obviously they're odds on favourite, and dogs don't seem to be as favourites don't seem to win as often on the dogs as they do on the horses. A bit more variable, a bit more volatile, I think. So if I move on to the second strategy, which is more or less the same, with the exception of I'm looking at anything up to favourite odds of being 8. You never get a favourite at 8 on a Greyhound, because that's 7 to 1 in a Greyhound race. Very seldom, because there's only 6. There's only 6 dogs running. And then the staking for this one is I'm doing 50 pence level stake, but then the recovery's only a liability of £20. Well, that might be an issue because I might need to up that. The only problem is I can't see. I haven't worked out yet what my losing calculations are. Not in hindsight, I really should do that up front and calculate what I can potentially lose, but the way I see it is I'm only using small stakes, so I'm quite happy with the risk of looking at it on this list here when it does happen. If I go down here, I haven't lost anything more than 2 in a row. I lost 2 in a row there, for example. So the first bet was 50 pence. I lost that, so I lost 50 pence. And then the next bet was 99 pence at odds of 3.15, and I lost that. So the next bet was £5, 3 pence. But unfortunately, the odds were only 1.57 instead of 3.15. So I only won £2.87 out of the 5. Well, I won £2.87 profit out of the £5 bet. Now, if that had been the other way around, I would have lost a lot less here. That bet would have been a little bit smaller, and then let's just put another trade on. This would have been a bit smaller, but then my winnings would have been bigger if I had like odds of 3. So really, something like that is good, because I had 99 pence on that one, and the odds of 3.15, so I won £2.13 on that. So you're risking £1 to get £2.13, whereas here I risked sort of the £5 to get £2.87. So it does depend on the odds you're getting, which really is just a matter of, it's just pot luck really. I think the odds, because you can't dictate. I mean, you can do rules and things in your strategy to change the stake depending on the odds, but that's automatic anyway with the way this recovery works when it's in recovery mode. So you can see now that's a 2.68, but because it's under 3, the other strategy will also back that dog. So Berghead Hannah in the 12.36 at Nottingham. Let's put a £1.10 trade on here, and put a £1 back bet on here. So you can see they're slightly different, even though the previous race were both 250 pence losses. So we'll wait for a few minutes. That race will run, and then it'll settle, and and it just goes on. But you can see the profit I've had out of those, and these are from the start of July, but they've only ramped up. I think that was on £5 profit before I upped it from 10 pence to 50 pence, and that's the reason I upped it. The £5 profit, if I'd been running 50 pence, that's like, as opposed to 10 pence, that's 5 times more. So the £5 profit would have been, I think it was £6 here, so that would have been 30 quid profit instead of £5. So I'm not looking at it as a loss, I'm just looking at it as I could have potentially made more, and that's what I'm doing now. There is a big but here and a big caveat in that this has never gone wrong yet, and believe me when I say it will go wrong. So I need to keep a close eye on these two strategies for at least the next few days, and be on the ball for when it does go wrong, because I do believe this bottom one will fall into the same kind of rut, whereby it'll get into a recovery cycle where it's continually trying to recover the losses, and it'll actually not be able to, based on the probability of not being able to win enough trades. So I do need to keep an eye on these, and when it does take a downswing, which it will do, I then need to look at them in the same way as I looked in this latest 6th favourite, and come up with a plan to limit the losses and to go forward, trying not to lose as much money again like we did on this one. You can see that one was still £47 down in total, and it's going to take a long time to get it back because we're only putting 10p on and we're not getting on many races. So I'm not too concerned about that, but overall we're showing a £50 profit for July now, which is okay. It's not mind-blowing because it's the 13th, we've had 12 full days, but it was a lot worse at one point. So you can see that dog's just won, and we've got 168 on that one, got 185 here, and this one here already has matched another trade. That's how quick it is. As soon as that one's settled, it'll say, right, is there any more I can get on? It's got on this one. 12.39 at Greyhound, which is like kicking off now, because it actually gets on them. I think it's set up for about 10 seconds before. I can't remember what I set it to. Market conditions, sorry. 6 seconds. So 6 seconds before the race is due to be off, then it puts the bet in. And you can see it's already done that. So we've already got the next bet on. It fit back, and you can see how it's gone back to 50 pence because this one here won at £1.10. That won we won 185. So you can see our total now is 239.65. We've got £1.24 in liability, which is basically this bet here. So if we lose that bet, I presume we'll lose 124 based on the odds. Oh, sorry, we'll lose 50p on that one. There must be another bet on somewhere, because I've got obviously quite a few strategies running. And you can see the total for the month is now £54. That's gone up while we've been on here. So I'm getting quite more happy about that. That's not proper English that we are sort of stuttered through that, but I'm getting a lot more comfortable with that number there, as long as it keeps going in the same direction, because we did have a bad couple of, well, probably the first week was bad in July because of these top ones. If you recall from a previous video, I took the top 3 strategies from June, put them into my A list, turned them green, and put them in and started in July, and we lost 72 quid straight away in the first couple of days on that one. It just got out of hand, so I just switched it off. This one's recovered, and this is paid for £10 a month, and then this one is starting to recover, albeit slowly, but it's not down too much, so I'm not too fussed. I have turned this one off now because it reached £10 loss, so I do need to look at it. It's betting on every game at half time for a second half goal if the score's 0-0, 1-0 or 0-1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep an eye on these Greyhound ones, because these are the 2 biggest at the moment, and then I'm going to do some more videos on that, and I'll also cover the rest of these strategies in a lot more detail. So that is it for now for this one, just a quick update on where we're at. Okay, I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any comments, leave them in the comments, or if you've got any questions, if you do something different, I'd be more than happy to take on board what you do, and happy to sort of have a think about what you're doing. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks now. Cheers. Bye.